And welcome to our community. Susie Thomas visiting with Barb Cockcroft, who is a local consultant for educators in our area. And you were here a couple years back, and we wanted to do a follow-up with you. Barb wrote a leadership grant, the Young Entrepreneurs Consortium Straight A Grant, that delivered $13.6 million to our school children here in the area. Good morning.
Good morning, Susie. How are you?
I'm doing great, and it's great to have you back.
Thank you.
We just wanted to catch up with you and find out more about what's happened with this, because what an impact, what an amazing impact this is having in the lives of our young people.
Well, thank you. And I want to credit my leadership team for helping write the grant. It wasn't just a Barb thing. It was like an incredible team of educators who all brought something very valuable to the table so that we were able to get this huge award from the Straight A funds from the state of Ohio.
Pretty awesome.
So
tell me a little bit about you, first of all, because people don't jump into becoming a consultant.
Oh.
You have a little background in something first to know a little something about it. So a little bit about your teaching background.
Okay, so I was a teacher of 7th and 8th grade language arts.
First of all, God bless you.
Yeah, thank you.
7th and 8th graders.
At Lake Middle School in Hartville, Ohio. And as I tell everyone, I really love Lake. I love the community. I love the people, my colleagues, the administrators. It's just a great little community, and I feel like I learned so much from my colleagues. And my students, they were always helping me to learn different perspectives of things. So from there, after I retired, which was not a happy day because it was one of those situations where our superintendent had asked for some of the veteran teachers to step aside so that we could save jobs for some of the younger staff. Mm-hmm. And I felt like God had led me to the realization that if the tables were turned, then somebody would have done that for me.
Yes.
So even though I loved what I was doing, I loved my 7th graders at the time and their families, I felt like God had a mission for me to step aside, which I did, and that was in 2010. And from there, it was funny because I was very blessed. I was offered actually 2 positions, not even having applied for either of them.
Yeah.
And one was to become the director of professional development at Walsh University, which I did for 2 years, and I loved very much. And then the other was to be a consultant in Columbus, Ohio, for a really wonderful company called Battelle for Kids. And it's a national company that helps with strategic plans and strategies for all the problems that are, kind of vexing teachers and administrators today. So I did that for 4 years, and it was while I was there at Battelle for Kids that I hooked up with one of my dearest friends, Dr. Pam Nath from Columbus, and together we put our heads together and we said, what if we could write a grant that helps target students from rural Appalachia communities that do not have the same benefits or privileges that students that sometimes who live in the suburbs have. And through the grace of God, honestly, Pam and I hooked up together. We surrounded ourselves with wonderful, intelligent people who helped us to write this grant. And I'll never forget, it was on June 20th, 2014, as I was getting gasoline at the Marathon station in Canton, that I got the phone call that the grant had been funded. And I just broke down, started crying for happiness, just so happy that so many kids, 26,549 kids.
Say that again.
Yeah, 26,549 students
whose lives have been forever changed.
Yeah.
What kind of benefits and advantages were you talking about? What was happening here that was not happening there that now is happening there as well?
Well, we have 5 work streams in the grant, and one of the work streams was on teacher credentialing. And my daughter participated in a program called PSEO, and that stood for Post-Secondary Enrollment Option. And that meant that you had to have a certain grade point average in order to be invited, if you will, to take classes your senior year at a community college. And the thing is my father owned Ewing Chevrolet, so we had access to a second used vehicle that she could use to go to Kent State Stark. And I felt that was a barrier to some families, that not every family just so happens to have a dad who owned a car dealership.
There's a car available.
Yeah. And so we thought about flipping the model. So what if we could get the high school teachers credentialed so that they could teach the courses at their respective high school.
Right there.
Right there.
You don't need a car. You're already at
Right.
school.
You don't need a car. And I also, as a mom, worried about Katie driving to Kent State Stark on the days because of the inclement weather. And I didn't want that fate to befall any other family. So I thought, all right. And so right now, I'm so happy to report that we have 39 teachers who have been credentialed. They've either been credentialed in business, they've earned their MBAs in English, composition, English, Spanish. I mean, we've got teachers that are credentialed in all of our districts, and we're just so excited about their enthusiasm, and they're so grateful to us for the, quote, free college, if you will.
It's so awesome because they really are serving as college faculty now in the
That's
high
exactly
schools.
Right.
Now the colleges are upset because they were wanting to get those kids on campus because they want them signing up for the next year. But you've got the kids in mind. That was really a win.
And then the colleges also are very supportive because they know that if we can get these kids into the pipeline
that's true
of thinking college, whereas perhaps before they would never even aspire,
might not have been on their radar,
go to college. And so if we get them in the pipeline, then chances are, they're going to continue at these local colleges and universities.
That's true. So everybody wins.
Everybody wins.
Good on you, Barb.
Well,
now, you also, what about computers, computer access?
Yes. So one of the huge work streams of the grant was called technology. And every district was given so many dollars depending upon how many students they serviced regarding technology. And our last year's white paper, we learned that there were over 7,889 students who now have one-to-one access. And that means, for people in our listening audience who might not understand the jargon, it means that these 7,889 students have their own device. It could be a Chromebook, it could be an iPad, it could be a laptop, but they all have a device that they can carry around with them. And with that, in some rural areas, the parents don't have Wi-Fi at home.
Right.
So a lot of the districts bought what are called hotspots, so that the kids without computer access at home, and they've been asked to do some online homework, they can take with them a hotspot so there's no barriers. It's all about removing barriers and making education equitable for all, capital A-L-L.
How did you come up with what the needs were?
I came up with the needs just by being a teacher and recognizing that I grew up in privilege and kind of not wanting children who didn't have privilege to fall short because their brains are every bit as much, intelligent and creative. And I think because I taught the gifted students for 17 years, I knew what underachievement looked like, and I knew what underrepresented populations looked like. And I wanted to mitigate that, and I wanted to find ways that we as adults could wrap our arms around all children so that they had all the opportunities to succeed that, like you and I had growing up.
Your grandfather, you quote him often. Your grandfather gave you a quote one time that I just love. Would you share that about some people will always have?
Yes. I'm surprised you remember that quote.
It meant a lot. That really rung true. It's very good.
So when I was just in third grade, very young, my grandpa called me into his office and he said to me, he said, "Now, young lady, I want you to understand that in life you could lose your house, you could lose your spouse, you could lose your kids, you can lose everything materialistic that you think matters to you." He said, "But the one thing no one will ever rob you of is your education." And he told me to overeducate myself and always give back to others.
Yeah.
And it just kind of stuck in my amygdala in my brain. And so everything I do, I think about Grandpa Ewing, and those words have haunted me in a very positive way throughout my entire career.
Wouldn't he be surprised? What do you think he would say today if he would know that you secured a $13.6 million grant that is now changing the lives of thousands and thousands and thousands of young people?
I think he would think that he would, first of all, probably say, "I can't remember that I said that."
Yeah.
And then he would think that I must have surrounded myself with an incredible team, because it is a team that raises the children, and the village. And I have always been able to seek out excellent talent. I mean, look at you. I mean, when I was president of the Junior League, I mean, who did I get to be my community? I mean, come on,
stop.
Susie. I can recognize good talent. And even if I
Thanks.
didn't know the answers, I knew enough to surround myself with people who would know the answers. So
It's so refreshing that you always are so humble about this, because it's quite an achievement, Barb. But you're the first person to say, "God did this."
Oh, yeah. He did do it.
Talk about where faith plays such a role in your life.
Oh, it's me. Okay, so
We have Kleenex. We always.
Okay. Well, the thing is I read a book. Don and I were on our way home from Mackinac Island. We had celebrated our anniversary up there, and I was turned on to this book by Jim Mahoney from Battelle for Kids, and it's called Making Hope Happen. And the author is Dr. Shane Lopez, who is the senior researcher of Gallup. And you know all the polls that Gallup does, and they're very well done. And I was totally intrigued when I read the book. And one of the things in the book, it said that hope is a greater predictor of success in life rather than an ACT score.
Wow.
Hope. And so I thought, and that just kind of hit me in the brain. And so I prayed to God. I said, "God, please give me the tools and the people and the resources necessary so that I can make hope happen for other students in our area." And so it was through God and through His infinite wisdom that I wrote this grant surrounded by this incredible team of people, because first person that I contacted besides Pam is Dr. Para Jones at Stark State.
Yes.
Because I don't know all that higher ed world. I mean, yes, I was part of it at Walsh University, but I was only in the education division. I didn't know how things intersected and transcended disciplines and all that. But Para knew, and so she called her leadership team together. I just remember I was getting ready to leave for Hong Kong, and her whole staff was on Christmas break, but she felt it was so important that she called them in from Christmas break to kind of talk about what my vision had been from God, and they were so instrumental in helping me to craft it.
Well, and when you see what's happened in the last several years, it's just to see it coming to fruition. It's one thing to have the idea and then to be executing it, and there's all that excitement and energizing that goes on. But now you're getting to really reap the fruits of it. How does that feel from your side?
I get so emotional only because I think about how it's changed so many lives, and I can give you story after story of students who have come up to me, and I say to them, "You guys, this is through the grace of God and through your incredible teachers, through your incredible administrators, the curriculum directors who are my team. They're just amazing. They're always there for you. And if you need anything, they answer emails pronto." I cannot speak highly enough about our quality team. It's really great.
Pretty awesome. We are visiting with Barb Cockcroft. She is filling us in on this leadership grant, the Straight A grant that she acquired for Stark County schools, or how far does it reach?
It actually transcends 12 counties.
My goodness. All right, we're going to get more into that. We've got to take a short
Yeah.
break. We'll be back with Barb after these words. You're listening to Our Community.